Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Bridging Impact Podcast, the podcast that is passing wisdom to the next generation of athletes, coaches, and parents to transform leaders on and off the court. And welcome back to our edition of Coach's Corner. I have been off. Well, I guess I just didn't post last week. It's been quite a bit of a crazy summer for me. Just an update. I finished our last Elite Summer Basketball and Leadership Camp yesterday, number 5 in the books, and it's our first year of running it. It's actually my first year being the director and owner of a summer camp, and that is something that I'm really proud of, and I'm really proud of the development that I got the opportunity to witness and be a part of with the athletes that we got to work with this summer. I really watched a lot of athletes become more confident on the court, but I also watched friendships develop. I also watched them just develop confidence off the court as well with their, using a leadership voice and just becoming a little bit more uncomfortable being, or a little more comfort in being uncomfortable. So recognizing a lot of those certain development skills has been an amazing experience, and so that really has kind of sparked my joy and wanting to talk about the topic today of focusing on long-term development with our athletes. So I think, a lot of times we want to win, and I'm as competitive as there are when it comes to people, and when it comes to the heat of the battle, how we structure our basically how we train and what we do is the results we're going to get. So I think part of the reasons I left the club basketball world is because I didn't feel like it was about development. It was about playing as many games and, just basically competing in certain ways that didn't hint or didn't allow certain athletes to develop, right? And I think, I don't necessarily have a problem with travel baseball, travel basketball, club whatever sport, but club is designed for athletes who are elite and who are ready to go and compete. But a lot of club teams, they take players who may not be ready to compete at a certain level, and they have certain rules that are not focused on development, and there's too many athletes playing way too many games. So what do I mean by that? With club basketball, and I'm not going to sit here and say every club basketball program isn't great, and I'm also not going to say like there were some great aspects to the program that I was with as well. It's not necessarily about the programs themselves, but the environment and the design of how we view these programs. So what do I mean by that? With, you know, a typical club program can play anywhere between 6 and 12 weekends, but how long are you spreading them out? Are you playing every single weekend? And are you missing training sessions and development sessions to play in games? Are you playing too many games? Are you playing through certain injuries because you feel like you want to get scouted at a young age of 8th, ninth, 10th grade, when in reality, the only people getting scouted at that age are the top 1% of athletes who really probably don't even need to play in those games to get scouted. Like they'll just get found eventually. But that's who those games are designed for. And I actually do think, club basketball, that elite level is great for athletes who are ready for that level, who are ready to take that next leap. But we also need, even if you're ready to take that next leap to play elite club basketball, to play travel baseball, to play travel whatever, there needs to be some sort of training and development that is focused on long term, not just on short term wins. And so that's one of the bigger reasons that you're seeing such a high rate of Tommy John surgery. And for those that don't know what Tommy John surgery is, it's an elbow surgery that baseball players often get. And I think, you can probably see it in football quarterbacks as well, and also, tennis players potentially. But it's such a high injury rate usage because we're over pitching our young athletes, and just because we want to win now, and I get it. Like, right, if we are going to be competing every single weekend, well, I want to win every single weekend, right? So like that, of course I'm going to over pitch or overplay some of my best players on my basketball team because I'm trying to win. Like in the heat of the battle, as a coach, I'm always going to try and win. And I will obviously consider development. Like when I coach, like, with my club team, there are some players that were on my team that probably didn't really need, didn't weren't really ready to get in the game, but they're not going to get better on the bench. So I got them in the game, and obviously they weren't ready for that yet. and that's okay. That's fine. But as humans, we are designed to, we're competitors, right? I genuinely believe that we are competitors. So when we put them in an environment every single weekend, we're going to compete to win as coaches and as players. And if we are playing too many games, right? And I'm not going to sit here and say that games are a bad thing. I actually think I didn't play enough games during my basketball development experience, and that's something that hindered me. So it's an and, right? We need to play basketball games or baseball games or soccer games, and we need to train and develop how to refine our skills in terms of with practice, right? And I think finding the right programs that's the right balance for it is it can be a challenge, right? And it's going to look different for every level of athlete, right? If you are more of a beginner athlete or someone who needs more development, then you need to be probably doing 25% gains, 75% development. Now if you're more kind of what we talked about, the elite level athlete or someone who's been playing for a while, then maybe it should be a little bit of 50-50. In some months it'll be 60-40, and 40-60 is not always going to be perfect. But I think just focusing more so on the long-term development and the harm of what we are doing with our young athletes when we're playing them every single weekend and we're having them skip camp sessions and training sessions because you want them to get scouted at ninth grade when in reality they're not even on varsity yet. The only people getting scouted in ninth grade are those who are like on starting on varsity. It doesn't matter what program, and that's at like elite level schools, not just small schools. I started on varsity my freshman year in baseball. I didn't get any looks, right? I got zero looks because my physical body, I didn't have the tool sets to play collegiately. I mean, I could have played JUCO ball in D3, sure, but that's not the experience I wanted to have, and that's a conversation for another day. What is most important is development. Development, and finding programs that encourage not only skill development but character development. And I believe that when we the problem with a lot of these programs that I have is and if you're part of one of these programs, and most of them do this, is if they bring players in who have never practiced with the team to play a game, to play a tournament, they do not care about development. I'm going to tell you that right now. It doesn't matter what they say, they do not care about development. Why? Because if you really cared about development, you would have a team practicing X amount of times a week, and a lot of times it's less, which is fine. But what is more important is that they build some sort of continuity. They have to earn playing games. Like, you can't just show up and play games because they're going to help you win. Then you don't care about development. You don't. And so that's the biggest issue that I have with a lot of coaches in terms of like what I see in the club basketball world. And I have some really good kids that I really enjoy coaching who they've told me like I don't really have a coach who really like invests because they just want me to come play for them, come play for them, come play for me this weekend. What are we doing for them? That's for ego. That's for wins. That's not about development of kids. And that's what I'm talking about is finding coaches who care about development. And I care about development. I do. I really do. And I know I'm not the only one out there though. I know there's a lot of other great coaches online and in other places that do really care about development. They do, but you just be wary of that in the programs that you are searching for your athletes, and as coaches, like, just care about kids and their development. Like, that's what it's about, bro. I mean, come on. At the end of the day, no one plays sports forever. There's an expiration date on every single person's career in sports. Like, even LeBron, he's fighting Father Time. He's got maybe max 3 years left, maybe 4 years if he's a wild man. But like, realistically, he's probably got 2 more years, this year and then Bronny's year, and he'll probably be done. And that is arguably the greatest player of all time. Michael Jordan is done, arguably the greatest player of all time. Careers don't last forever, and only the 1% get to. I mean, it's a 0.1% get to play as long as LeBron. Most people that play professional sports, they only play for 2 or 3 years, and then they have to go and coach and or get a job in sales and become a teacher, whatever, right? They become a regular person like us. So we have to focus on long-term development, for character development, leadership development. It's so much more than playing games. I really appreciate you all for listening to this. If you got something out of it, reach out to me. Maybe you want to push back on something I've said. That's fine. I want to encourage collaborations and conversations. I'm not saying I have all the answers. I'm just sharing my experience and what I see as a coach, and getting the opportunity to work with so many great athletes and great families. Like, I'm very grateful for the families I get to work with. They are amazing. And I just want you all to know that if a coach really cares about you, if you're listening to this, they care about their development in the long term, not just short term wins. It's winning and long term development. So make sure you subscribe to the podcast. We got great episodes coming out every Wednesday of people sharing their stories about how we can make a bigger impact on athletes. And then also on Friday, I share what I'm seeing in the youth sports world, some tips, some stories, and some inspiration on how we can maximize our youth development. So, Coach Furtado out. I'll be in your ears and eyes next week.